Okay, let's open up a can of worms here. You see, Max Bultman on The Athletic published an article 4 days ago talking about the Detroit Red Wings, and he goes over the idea of fan sentimentality about the team. You see, it's been no secret that over the years, especially since 2019 when Steve Yzerman was brought on board with the Red Wings, again I should say, yeah, he was brought on board with the Wings again. Ever since 2019, it's always been Yzerplan, Yzerplan, Yzerplan. Trust the Yzerplan. Steve Yzerman was the guy who was the captain of the Wings, one of the best Wings of all time. He is up there on Detroit's Mount Rushmore. Fantastic dude, fantastic hockey player, fantastic GM. He had helped build those Stanley Cup championship caliber Tampa Bay teams, and he did a good job, you could say. Yzerplan, 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 right? And as the years went on, as the Wings drafted some pretty good names, as they got some guys, and as they slowly started to improve, the belief in the Yzerplan was getting validated, year after year. But this article by Max Bultman on The Athletic goes out there and asks the question in 2024, why are Detroit Red Wings fans losing confidence in the front office of Detroit? I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this yourself. I will also leave a link in the description to yesterday's edition of Spectre's Hockey, because Lyle Richardson goes out there and describes what it is that Bultman writes about. And Spectres, of course, it's not behind a paywall. It's easier for us to go out there and read. 2 links in the description. Let's get started with the Spectre's Hockey piece. A poll indicates that Detroit Red Wings fans are losing confidence in their club's management. 3 Predators with the most approved this season, and more in today's NHL Morning Coffee headlines. Here's The Athletic. Max Bultman examined a recent poll indicating that Detroit Red Wings fans are losing confidence in the club's front office led by GM Stevie Y. 2 years ago, the Wings ranked 3rd in The Athletic's annual survey of front office confidence. They dropped to 12th in 2023 and are 21st in this year's ranking. That's crazy, man. 2 years ago, 2022, that was when, I guess you could say, Wings fans' support for Yzerman was at an all-time high. Maybe not the all-time high. I think by the time Raymond and Seider made their debuts and had the rookie season side by side, that is when everything was at an all-time high. Actually, 2 years ago, 2022, was that the year following up the Raymond and Seider rookie season? Yeah, it was. That's why the Red Wings were so high up there in the Athletics survey of front office confidence. 3rd overall, after all. Crazy. But dropping down to number 12, and then dropping down to number 21, they're falling like a ton of bricks, man. How do you go so far down there in the rankings? I'm going to see if I could try to answer that question, but before we do that, let's go out there and finish off what the thoughts are here. Wings fans are not happy with how the club has built the roster and managed its salary cap. They're also critical of the club's recent trades and free agent acquisitions. Max Bultman believes that Wings fans aren't jumping ship, but losing faith despite the club's upward trend in the standings. And that's a fair perspective to go out there and bring up, because a lot of people have had their contentions with the way the Wings have made their trades, how they've sent guys away, how they've signed guys, given out money to guys, even the guys that they've drafted. They've drafted a very similar kind of player the past few years, especially with some of their top first-round picks. So, confidence? Yeah, you could say that it's waning a little bit in comparison to maybe 2 years ago after the Raymond and Seider rookie years. Here's what Spectre's note goes out there and says about it. The Wings' long playoff drought is taking a toll on their fans' patience. They've missed the playoffs for their 8th straight season. That's the longest drought in the franchise's history, including the Dead Things era of the 1970s and early 1980s. Steve Yzerman took over as the Wings GM in April 2019, by which point the Wings missed the postseason for the 3rd straight year. Their fans were willing to be patient with him because of his great career as the team captain and his success building up the Tampa Bay Lightning into an inevitable Stanley Cup champion. The Wings have steadily improved over the past 3 years, narrowly missing last year's playoffs. Nevertheless, the fans are getting restless, awaiting their club's return to playoff contention. Coming up short last season did little to restore their trust in Yzerman's plans. Yzerman isn't in danger of losing his job yet. However, questions should be raised about his future if the Wings come up short this season. And so with that all in mind, you start to think, okay, maybe this season really is more important for the Detroit Red Wings than we had initially anticipated. Of course, we know that there's an upward trajectory that needs to be reached before the Red Wings can start consistently making the playoffs again. These young guys, these prospects, they need to make the team, they need to show off that they can stay on the team, and that's not easy. Nor is it going to come right away, right? I mean, sure, you would expect guys like Simon Edvinsson and maybe a few other names to fully contend for a roster spot this upcoming year, but does that make the Wings a contender? No, it doesn't. Does it force them into the playoffs right now? No, it doesn't necessarily. Not to mention the money, not to mention the handling of Jake Walman, not to mention the questionable decisions here that Yzerman has made. There have been some good ones. I mean, I was a fan of the Tarasenko signing, I was a fan of the Mott signing, I was a fan of the Axel Sandin-Pellikka draft pick. Lots of things to be cheering for with Steve Yzerman. He's not dead last in the Athletics GM faith model that they have here. But to go from top of the league to 21st overall in the span of 2 years is concerning. And because this poll that Boltman and the Athletic crew conducted was about fan sentiment, okay, how much do fans believe in their GM? It kind of paints an ugly picture when you consider where the Wings have gone and what perception says about Steve Yzerman, because technically the team has gotten better, quote-unquote, because they're winning more games and they're getting more points every year. But when you think about the dollars being spent, when you think about the guys being brought in, and the guys getting shipped out for what they're getting shipped out for, it becomes a little bit confusing here. So, in regards to Stevie Y and fan sentiment coming at an all-time low, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you agree? Do you also have wavering levels of support for Steve Yzerman's plan in comparison to, let's say, a year or two ago? Not for Steve Yzerman like the guy. Everybody likes Steve Yzerman. Everybody loves Steve Yzerman. Everybody recognizes how good he was as a player, as a leader, as a figure in Detroit Red Wings hockey lore. That's great. Nothing Yzerman can do in his tenure as GM is going to tarnish what he did as a player. But right now, the Yzer plan, yeah, it's looking kind of rough. Unless the Wings go out there and absolutely dominate the Eastern Conference next season, they finish 3rd overall, and they take themselves the top spot in the Atlantic, and they make the 3rd round. That's really what I think it's going to take for Steve Yzerman to get all the confidence back in him and vault himself back into that 2nd overall spot in the Athletics GM belief rankings. Because right now, I mean, he dipped really far. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.